Have you ever wondered how thousands of developers can all work on the same massive software project at the very same time without it just exploding into chaos? Well, the answer is a tool called Git. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how it works and why it's pretty much the engine behind all modern software development.
Oh, you know you have. We've all been there, right? That folder just cluttered with slightly different versions of the same file, this desperate attempt to not lose any of your old work. It's a mess, and it's incredibly easy to make a mistake. That exact chaos is the reason we need a much better system.
So, the solution to that file naming nightmare is something called a version control system, or a VCS for short. You can think of it like a time machine for your files. Seriously, it records every single change, letting you rewind to any point in the past. But to really get why Git is so special, we need to take a quick look at how this whole idea came to be.
Okay, so the very first step in this evolution was the local VCS. Think of this as a personal time machine, just for you, on your own computer. It keeps a little database of all the changes to your files. Now, this was a huge improvement, for sure, but it had a couple of big problems. First, it was totally isolated, so working with other people was tough. And second, if your computer's hard drive died, poof, you lost everything.
Now, to solve that collaboration problem, centralized version control systems came along. The idea here is that there's one single central server that holds the entire history of the project, and developers can check out files from that server to do their work. This was an absolute game changer for teamwork.
But, and this is a big but, there was a massive Achilles heel. That central server, it's a single point of failure. If that server goes offline for any reason, nobody can save their work, nobody can collaborate, everything just grinds to a halt. And even worse, if that server's drive gets corrupted and the backups aren't perfect, the entire history of the project could be lost forever.
And that brings us to the modern era with distributed version control systems, or DVCS. This is exactly what Git is. See, instead of just checking out the latest version of the files, every single developer gets a full copy, a complete mirror of the entire project and all of its history. This is revolutionary. There is no single point of failure anymore, because every developer's copy is a full backup of the project.
So, okay, a distributed system is obviously way more resilient, but that's not the only thing that makes Git so special. The real magic, the core difference, is in how it thinks about your data. It's a completely different philosophy than everything that came before it.
You see, most of those older systems, they think in terms of deltas, or the differences between files. They store an initial file and then just a list of all the little edits made to it over time. Git doesn't do that. Git thinks of its data as a series of snapshots. Every time you save your work, it's like Git takes a picture of what all of your files look like at that exact moment and stores a reference to that snapshot.
And this visual really makes it click. On the left, you see that old way, tracking individual changes to each file. It looks kind of complicated, right? But on the right, you see Git's approach, a clean, simple stream of snapshots of the whole project. And to be super efficient, if a file hasn't changed from one snapshot to the next, Git doesn't store it again. It just includes a link to the previous version. It's brilliant.
This quote from the Pro Git book just sums it up perfectly. Because of this whole snapshot approach, Git acts less like a traditional version control system and more like a tiny, super fast file system. And that design is what makes it so incredibly powerful.
Okay, if there is one single thing you need to grasp to really truly understand Git, this is it. Your files in a Git project can exist in one of three main states. Understanding this workflow is the absolute key to everything else. In this diagram right here, it illustrates that flow perfectly. You've got these three conceptual areas: the working directory, the staging area, and the Git repository itself. Your changes are always going to flow from one to the next. So let's break each one down.
First up, the working directory. This one's easy. It's just the folder on your computer with all the project files that you can actually see and edit with your code editor. It's your workspace, your creative area where you're making all the changes.
Next up is the staging area. Now, this is one of Git's most powerful and, honestly, most unique ideas. Think of it like a waiting room for your changes. Before you permanently save a snapshot, what we call a commit, you first add your changes to the staging area. This gives you incredible control, letting you carefully craft exactly what you want to include in your next snapshot, while maybe ignoring other changes you've made but aren't ready to save yet.
And finally, we have the Git directory, or the repository.
This is that hidden .git folder you'll find inside your project. This is the brain of the whole operation. It's where Git stores the entire history of your project, all those snapshots we talked about. When you commit, what you're really doing is telling Git to take whatever is in the staging area and save it as a new permanent snapshot right here in the repository.
So how do these three areas actually work together in the real world? Let's connect all that theory to the simple, repeatable workflow you're going to be using every single day with Git. It really all boils down to this simple loop. First, you modify your files in the working directory. Then, you stage the specific changes you want to save for your next snapshot using a command called git add. Third, you commit that staged snapshot permanently to your history with git commit. And then, you just repeat, modify, stage, commit. Modify, stage, commit. If you can master that rhythm, you've honestly mastered 90% of what you'll ever do in Git. Now, everything we've talked about so far happens entirely on your own local machine. But the real magic of Git, where it truly comes alive, is when you start collaborating with other people. Collaboration usually starts with a central shared copy of the repository that lives somewhere on the internet, typically on a service like GitHub. Think of this as the project's official source of truth. So, once you've saved your snapshots locally with a commit, you push your changes up to that remote server to share them with your team. And to get the latest work from everyone else, you pull their changes down to your machine. It's this simple push and pull rhythm that keeps the entire team perfectly in sync. And that brings us to what many people call Git's absolute killer feature, branching. Imagine you need to work on a new feature or try out a risky idea. Instead of messing with the main project, you create a branch, which is like an entirely separate parallel timeline of your project. You can experiment freely in that branch, break things, fix them, and if it all works out, you merge it back into the main project. And if it doesn't, you just throw the branch away. No harm done. This ability to work in these isolated timelines is what lets huge teams build complex things at the same time without stepping on each other's toes. This ability to create these super lightweight branches and merge them back in so easily really is Git's superpower. Now, we've only just scratched the surface today, but if you want to really master this, the best resource on the planet is the Pro Git book by Scott Chacon and Ben Strout. Best part? It's available completely online for free. So the real question is, now that you get the fundamentals, are you ready to go explore the feature that completely revolutionized modern software development?